And so today I want to congratulate all the 2012 Sheroes. This is such a great honor to be up here talking to all of you guys. I know Miss Margaret Wood, she used to press me and my sister's hair when we were young. Miss Ida Johnson, I had an opportunity to speak over at United Neighbors. And then Miss Teresa Moore, I worked behind stage with her in her production, I Am Production. She has a play production. And then Sister Bettina McWilliams, she always says I was her mentee, and I've been in this program, you know, we work alongside inside church, so I want to thank her, I want to thank and congratulate every woman in this room. So preparing for this speech, it took a lot longer than I had expected. I worked on this for 2 weeks. I finally put the last touches on it this morning. So this was kind of something that, you know, really meant something to me. When I first received the call about speaking to all of you women, I was excited. I was nervous, but yet I was still excited. Not only would I get an opportunity to be a part of an event that honors African American women for their achievements and contributions to the Quad City area, I would have the opportunity to be surrounded by my sisters. Women that I immediately shared a connection with. I didn't even have to know you, but I shared a connection with you as soon as I walked in the door. A connection that really can't be explained. It just is.
All right.
Now, as excited as I was to speak on today, I just couldn't figure out what it was I really wanted to say. Yes, I know it's Black History Month, the most popular month to talk about Black Pride. A time where we will see our people from midnight on February 1st until 11:59 on February 28th post the most statuses, pictures, anything on social media about Black History Month. But I was stuck. I was stuck at a standstill because I didn't know how I, a 24-year-old young woman, could encourage a group of older women that have already been where I'm trying to go. What could I share with them? Women who are being honored for accomplished goals, women who have and continue to work tirelessly within our communities, and women who have set a standard high for young women for me to follow, like myself to follow. Then I thought about this word failure. When I say it, I kind of cringe myself. This word failure, it's a word that people try to avoid by any means necessary, but a word I'm sure all of us are familiar with and have come to face with in our everyday lives. What is failure? You do something, you expect a certain result, and when you don't get the result that you want, you classify that as a failure. Now failures, they may be disguised, they come in all different types of forms. The condition of falling short, non-performance of what is expected, not passing a test, a course, or an assignment, a decline in strength, or the act of becoming bankrupt. Now, to many of us in our success-driven society, failure is considered not an option. Instead of failing, people would like to play it safe. They like to fly below the radar, repeating the same choices over and over and over again. They operate under the belief that if they make no waves, they're not going to attract any attention. No one will yell at them for failing because they generally never even attempt anything great at which they could possibly fail or they could succeed. But how can you ever reach your highest potential by settling for mediocrity? To achieve your personal best, to reach the farthest stars in the sky, to make the impossible possible, there is no room to fear failure. Now, with every dream, I have dreams. You know, I have to think big. I have to have a plan for myself, push myself, and take that risk. And with taking a risk, there's only two options. Either you're going to fail, or you're going to succeed. Now, what may seem as a setback, failure is just a setup for your success. Now, we all stumble. I've stumbled many of times. When through college, I stumbled, and I fell short. But that is what life is all about. If things go wrong, you're going to hit a dead end. And once you find yourself at a dead end, guess what? All you can do is reverse and go the other direction.
Come on.
Now, with every failure, difficult time, or crisis, there's always going to be a lesson in it. You can ask yourself, what is this situation trying to teach me? And with each lesson, you will learn more than ever about yourself. You're going to learn about your strengths, your weaknesses, your talents, your imperfections, which will prepare you for the next obstacle that you're going to come up against.
All right.
Now, I know personally I didn't always think like this. I know when I hit dead end after dead end, I was, just anything that came against my life, I always did not think like this. I still have issues with it. But at times I got to a point where I'm like, God, there can't be that many lessons in the world that I need to learn. But I would find myself asking the wrong question. We would ask ourselves, why is this happening? Why am I going through this in my life? But rather than asking that, you need to ask yourself, what is this here to teach me? And when we can get back to asking ourselves that right question, saying, what's the lesson? It puts us in the place and space to get the lesson we really need.
All right.
Now, I once heard someone say that one of the biggest secrets to success is operating inside your strength zone, but outside of your comfort zone.
All right.
What does this mean? You not only have to ease into a fearless mindset, but you have to recognize and use your strengths in order to push. You have to push your way to success. You will never know the outcome of something unless you try. Although you may fall incredibly, you can always succeed incredibly.
All right.
Now, I want to take the time, let's talk about a couple of my favorite African American women that had to fall incredibly in order to succeed incredibly. Now, this first one, all I need to say is halftime show of the 2013 Super Bowl. Anybody know who that is? Yes, Beyonce. Now, we've all seen her in this limelight, from Destiny's Child to her transformation of a solo artist. But even Beyonce, she had to fall incredibly in order to succeed incredibly. Now, how many of you guys remember this song? I'm a survivor, I'm not gonna give up, I'm not gonna stop. I'ma work harder, I'm a survivor, I'm gonna make it, I will survive, keep on surviving. Now, those lyrics didn't just come from anywhere. I believe there was some personal experiences, some struggles, and some sleepless nights behind those words. Now, before Beyonce reached her stardom, she had her own failures along the way. At the age of 8, Beyonce was in a group called Girls' Time and was placed on Star Search. Well, Girls' Time, they failed to win. The group was cut down to 4, performed for more established girl groups, auditioned before many record labels, and they were finally signed on to Elektra Records. Now, they moved to Atlanta briefly to work on this first album, but they were only cut by their record company as soon as they got there. So soon after, the group got a contract from Columbia Records. They had 2 great albums. Then, 2 of the members left the group. Then they got 2 more members. But a few months later after that, 1 more left the group. And all the 3 that remaining was Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle. Now, they had some good hits. We blasted our radios and threw our hands up for all the women who was independent. And we learned some signature moves from their hit song, Bootylicious. But we all know the story. It did not last too long. The group split up to pursue solo careers, and the rest was history. Yes, Beyonce has proven herself as a solo artist, but it did not come easy. Every one of even the most sought-after female vocalists had to embrace the prospect of failure. Now, let's move on to one of my all-time favorites, the one that I just had to be like when I got older, until I kind of got into myself and I realized myself, why strive to be like someone else when I should strive to be myself?
Absolutely.
Now, this woman, she has been ranked the richest African American of the 20th century. She's known as the greatest black philanthropist in American history. She has her own network and was for a time the world's only black billionaire. Who is this woman? Oprah. Yes, it's Oprah Winfrey. Now, she certainly has come a long way. She, too, had to fall incredibly in order to succeed incredibly. Oprah spent her childhood in rural poverty, where she was so poor, her grandmother sometimes made her dresses out of potato sacks. She endured considerable hardships during her childhood. She was molested and raped at the age of 9. She ran away from her home at 13 and became pregnant at the age of 14, but her son died shortly after she gave birth. After her mother forced her to move with her father, things began to slowly turn around for the better. It was in high school when she first was introduced into media, and began co-anchoring for a local evening show at the age of 19. Now, as she began to work in a bigger television market, there was an image that media portrayed that she expected her to portray. Her news director, he told her, and I find this so funny, because he told her, change your name to Susie. Because nobody would ever remember the name Oprah, but I think everybody knows who Oprah is. Another boss had told her he didn't like the way she looked. So he sent her to the salon. She had to get, they put a perm in her hair, and after a few days later, her hair fell out, and then she had to shave her head. So for years to come, Oprah juggled with the messages of expectation and obligation, and feeling miserable for herself. But it still did not stop her from moving forward. Now Oprah says this, think like a queen. A queen is not afraid to fail. Failure is another stepping stone to greatness. Now I can just imagine her saying this every time she faced opposition. Every time it looked like things were getting worse rather than better. I could just hear her saying every step of the way, think like a woman. Think like a queen. A queen is not afraid to fail. Failure is another stepping stone to greatness. Now through these stories of these women, I want to share the failures behind all the success that we see in them every day. These women did not allow a no or roadblocks to stand in the way of their dreams and their purpose in life. From the very beginning, greatness resides in them. And from the very beginning, greatness resides in all of us. We just had to understand our own self-worth. The sweetest victory is the one that is most difficult. The one that requires you to reach deep inside. The one that requires you to stay awake even when you want to go to sleep. The one that requires you to give more to others than you receive. The one that requires you to fight with everything you've got. To be willing to leave everything there on the battlefield. Without knowing until that do or die moment if your heroic effort will be enough. Now we each have the potential to be great. And let me talk about great. Greatness is not measured by what a person accomplishes. Right. Greatness is not measured by the amount of money that you obtain. But greatness is measured by the opposition that a person overcomes to reach their own goal. And the women being honored today are all overcomers. It doesn't matter how famous they are. It doesn't matter how much money they have in their bank account, how fancy their cars or houses are. All that matters is that they committed their time to finding their worth, finding their gifts, and their purpose in life. You all have proven to be a true definition of a Shero. You are a female hero that is filled with great courage and strength. You have sacrificed your life in order to advance the lives of others. You uplift, you educate, and you inspire to make positive changes in lives. You are super role models, setting the example in your families, in your workforce, in your community. You not only can talk the talk, but you can walk the walk. You are beauty inside and out. Now I want you all to look around this room. This room is filled with Sheroes. We have built up a community of strong women that through each struggle, each triumph, and through each story, we are yet able to strengthen our sisters. Now in my closing, I want to congratulate and encourage all of our honorees. And I have a poem, it was an original poem that was written just for this event, just for our Sheroes, and I just want to dedicate it to you guys because you are true Sheroes. It says, Shero, that's my hero, struggled hard from much, much of zero, stood tall in the face of evil, to serve a community like me, you know. The power of one mind combined with a heart that's kind. She wears an S on her chest. That's possible from the lack of rest. Rest, you see, not much she got. There's more to a Shero, and that's a fact. While some are scared to raise their voice, when justice must prevail, we must make this choice. We oftentimes hear, let freedom ring. But even in 2013, let's continue to sing. Sing songs like, "This girl is on fire." Realize your worth for more than a work for hire. While the road isn't easy to travel along, you overcame, and that alone makes you strong. Mistakes are proof that you are trying. While others discourage, you think you are dying. The living proof that you're alive, you kept pressing, that's a beautiful stride. So in this month that we recognize all that you do, your influence causes many to want to be like you, and this is true. We can stand and say, we struggled hard from much, much of zero, all to be crowned a hero, you're my Sheroe. And I just want to say congratulations to all of our Sheroes. And what I have for you, I did print these out, and it says Sheroe, and then there are women with S on their chest. So I have one for all of the honorees that are being honored today. And then also, I want to give 2 of these special ones to my Sheroes, my mother and my grandmother. Aww.